Hello, Sasha!
Hey, Jeffrey! You're still here, always here.
Here we are again. I'm gonna have
Thank you for coming, too.
I need to buy a bed for this place.
That is a good idea. You always come up with a great idea for the show.
Okay, now here's a couple of new ideas for everybody listening, watching, our fans, our enemies, everybody. We now have our own Sasha and Geoff Show channel on YouTube. So you don't have to go through Strumenti anymore. You can, it'll be there. But go to the Sasha and Geoff Show. And it's very, very important that you become a member of our channel. So join the channel. And don't forget to like each.
And comment, just like say how you hate Jeffrey for his democratic and social ideas. Or me.
Especially him.
Yeah,
anyway.
Especially me.
Okay, so that's what we're working on. As you probably all know, this has been a rather crazy week. Our king, our king decided to visit the Middle East, and the Middle East they've got this guy.
It doesn't matter what guy, like the Middle East doesn't.
They know exactly how to. They know exactly how to work this guy. He's a puppet there, and so So what do? They show him lots of gold. They show him lots of marble. They show him lots of camels. They give him an airplane. They give him crypto.
Listen, they didn't give him a camel. That's impressive. Like I thought, like they're gonna give him a camel so he can just ride around.
Yeah.
A golden camel.
Yeah, a golden camel.
Yes.
Anyway, so and of course, Trump is. All you have to do is tell him how great he is, and then all these people who he was completely against before. But I will say one thing positive about Trump on this trip. He's basically decided, these guys are pricks. They're monarchs. They're completely corrupt. But that's who we have to deal with. So we might as well deal with them. That part of it I would agree with.
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think it's a great idea to just like to have a communication with every country and see what they can do for us and we can do for them, including Israel. He didn't go to Israel for some reason, but again.
But of course, I would like it better if he wasn't overtly being bribed by these people. In a huge way. I mean, he made more in 3 days in the Middle East than most people make in a lifetime. So
it's just like horrible when you listen in a president of United States going to any country and collects the gifts and deals, and you don't understand. This is like who he represents.
Yeah. Think about it. Like he met the new head of Syria. But you have to realize during his first administration, he had $1 million bounty on this guy if they could kill him. Now all of a sudden, he's the most beautiful man with the most beautiful beard in the world. And all of a sudden, he's impressed by this guy. It's just unbelievable what Trump is capable of. However, as we explained last week, we want to start going through the book, the Purple Vision. And right now, we want to start with first describing what's in chapter 2, because this is kind of important. This is basically how Sasha became an American and how his thoughts changed and his attitudes changed. And I have a lot of questions about that too, because there's no question that Russia is a socialist place, right?
It's not socialist, authoritarian.
Sort of.
It's. Can I just
go ahead.
There's a difference between socialist country and the country that directed by the central government. It's kind of social, but it's directed authoritarian. So social country, it's like when countries provide something for people, and they have maybe some programs for people. Russia doesn't have much for people. It does have, but it's not social. It's first of all authoritarian.
But they provide some amazing gulags.
Yeah, you can rest forever.
However, Trump is learning, and he's now learning how to provide some successful gulags for our country also.
That's, they say like you cannot teach like an old dog a new trick.
Anyhow, so you can explain how your thinking changed after you came here.
I think the country drastically has been changing, and it's becoming more socialist. And with Trump, it's more chaotic. It's just chaotic, right? Like crazy.
Yeah, but would you agree? Because everything I'm seeing is that the Democrats have always been accused of being socialists, but I'm beginning to feel like Trump is not that far away from that either.
Again, it's very fair point. It's not just about socialist. Again, authoritarian, because Trump provides. He provides. You see, he provides. Our country doesn't need your monarch or like the president to provide you with anything. He needs just to execute the policies. So, but what he does, he influences tax cuts. The tax cuts, it's the same like a social program. You give people money because you don't tax you more, so you retain more. The idea is it's your money, you can do whatever you want with them. But the problem is when we have a national deficit, we cannot provide people with money when the government needs the money for social programs, for defense, for education, for Medicare, medical, and stuff like that.
So, question about that. The big question is when you hear Bernie Sanders, who's on the cover of the book, when you hear about the constant debate that's going on, is that the Democrats are only interested in giving free medical, free education, free housing, just anything that the population can get for the minimal amount of taxes that they give. The problem is that now there's the big beautiful bill in Congress is failing. Why? Because like Sasha said, there is no money. You cannot sit there and give these huge refunds to the richest people in the country when there's technically no money to give. What they should do is cancel the tax cuts for the rich. At the least, just cancel them.
Can I just say something? I'm very against defining people rich and poor. It's not fair for a person to hear every time, "Oh, you're rich." That might something be wrong with you. People achieved something. The whole point of being achieving something in the United States, it's getting like good profession, earn more money, get the family, get a house, get something values for who you are and what you achieved. So now when the people get money as definition of success or kind of like some value of success or like something, and they being like accused of that. So
it seems that now if you had to pick a cutoff number of the difference between rich and poor, it seems to be, if you can imagine, $400,000, which is ridiculous.
But Jeffrey, listen, if you earn in California $400,000, you pay and you just let's say accountant, healthcare provider, like maybe a doctor, maybe a nurse, whoever you are, you pay enormous taxation. You pay about 50% in taxes, approximately. You have 14% of California, 39 or 37% in federal taxes. So it just not it's not rich. People paying half of their salaries and income they pay for taxation. But people who earned, let's say, 50 to 70,000, they don't pay at all or very minimum. So it's not right. It has to be thought through.
Okay, now that we've established that very, very important point, now we can actually go back and look at the damage that's been done for the last 100 days. Now we have to deal with tariffs. So
I have to relax. I apologize.
So even though they're not paying that, the poor aren't paying that much in taxes. Yes, they are, because the tariffs is the same thing as a tax, and then on top of that, all the people of lower income are being absolutely pounded upon by this administration and the incompetent people that are in the cabinet. About Elon Musk, that's one thing, but more important, all the damage that's being done. There's so much unemployment. Every time Trump creates a tariff, they say, "Oh yeah, but we're going to have this money. It's going to be free. No more income tax. Everything will be paid for by tariff." But in the meantime, all the people that are affected by the tariff are not just the companies that have to pay the tariffs or the people, but it's all the people that lost their jobs, that lost their income, that lost their ability to support their families, and all the infrastructure that goes beyond that. Restaurants, dry cleaners,
So basically,
park
let me
rangers.
just make a definition a little bit. Trump doesn't make our life better. He doesn't make anything better, like in terms of policies, the idea of how we pay national debt. He just creates the chaos, and there is no. It's not a solution, and it's just different type of chaos opposing Democratic Party chaos that we are slowly going down, and that Trump was chosen in hope that he will bring something positive, but he's taken the country different direction, and that's why, like in my book, I'm saying stop going blue, like right, stop or left, stop going right or red. We need like going in the middle. We need to vote for people for not who are popular, but who are not popular.
Yeah,
Okay,
let me explain that better, because we had a discussion before we started about this. It seems like right now, to become a president or to become an important person in Congress and things, it has nothing to do with knowledge or education or anything else. It has to do with your entertainment value. And the one thing that Trump is very good at is being entertaining. He's also a pompous ass, which means that the only thing that matters to him is that whatever happens anywhere in the world for any reason at all has to be based on his name and his brand. And that's not what a president should be. It's not about branding. It's about actually accomplishing something. So,
but you see, he makes you to talk about him. He makes you feel good about him or bad about him. He has the very good, for his own sake, quality that he makes people talk about him. But we need to stop talking about people. We need to start talking about you, not people, politicians, but we need to talk about you as people, us. We need to make good policies to feel better, because Americans are working extremely hard. Nobody in the world, even in China, maybe in China, but I think no, because let me just we work not just like our 8 hour shift. We come home, we have to think about next day, we need to invest money, we need to take care of children. So many things are going on. We are entities on our own. And go ahead.
yeah, and so what's happened is that the average American has a list of things that are important to him or her or it because
Or them.
because that's what the whole world is about. How do I support my family? How do I support the education? How do I sort the most expensive thing, which is healthcare? In the meantime, Trump and his incompetent people like RFK and all these other people are destroying healthcare, which is the most devastating the devastating principle of any country. If you don't have healthcare, the cost of depriving people of health care is not believable. So that has to be taken into consideration. Then we also have, like most people have a car. They have to pay insurance. You have to, besides health insurance, you have to pay home insurance and things like that. And that's becoming impossible to get now because they've destroyed everything else in the book about climate change and things like that. So now they just announced this week that everybody at FEMA is being thrown out. Look what just happened in the last 2 days: massive tornadoes in Kentucky, and a disaster, and FEMA will not be there for these people. And the hurricane season is about to start, which means Florida is going to be devastated.
And we will see how it's going to affect people. So the point, like right now, what we are making is just that we need to start like thinking who we elect on from the bottom to the top, and don't like whenever the elections they like people saying, oh, we need to vote like elect somebody the lower evil wherever the expression is, but it's up to you now to find somebody who you like to vote on your person on the city level, on the county level, and so forth.
Especially the state level.
State level.
Because the federal level is being destroyed. You know, there's soon going to be no federal level if Trump gets his way.
He will not get his way. People, because within one year, people will get crazy.
Here's one thing I recommend. Now on June 14th, he wants to have a military parade in Washington, which first of all is going to destroy the streets in Washington. I lived there for 4 years. You don't want to have tanks going down.
We will see. It destroys the asphalt.
Yeah, but
we will see.
Here's what I recommend. Nobody should attend that parade unless you're carrying a very, very large protest sign. You know, but the idea, all he cares about, look at all the people who came to celebrate my birthday. We have to make sure that there's more people on the outskirts of the Washington streets pounding the streets against them than people watching the parade. So
I would
so that's what I would recommend.
I would recommend to read my book, to educate yourself, instead of just wasting time of like thinking that we are the toughest country in the world while you don't have like a confidence in the day of tomorrow. That's what you need. You need the government which doesn't change everyday ideas and laws. This is unbelievable. You cannot make a business or life decision when there is insanity in the White House. So like we need like to just like start with educating ourselves and just doing some.
Well, the other thing, at least they won't have the aircraft carriers in the parade. Otherwise, we could watch $40 million jets falling off the end of the aircraft carrier as it's going down the street.
All right, Jeffrey. So I think we got for today, right?
Okay, but go a little bit more about the difference between what the life was like in the Soviet Union in an authoritarian regime and how the fact that we're heading that way, what people can expect if we continue in this direction.
Okay, so the point is this: the direction came not from Trump. The direction is going from social democrats. Social democrats are trying like to make socialize the healthcare services, education for high school, for high education, like for colleges and universities, and many other departments of the government, which we cannot do because the structure of United States is not socialist structure. In socialist countries, the country itself owns the land, owns the like in China, 51% of the stock of the companies. So they have profit of everything what's is production-wise in the country. We don't have any income from the production of our companies. We cannot create the industries based on the government because we don't have enough money. So when we start inventing something like socialist, for example, I think like 2020, I'm just like thinking about the numbers. It was the income from government has the income like on taxation. We tax people, we get the revenue from taxes and tariffs and stuff like that. In 2020, I think it was $3.4 trillion. But the healthcare services, all the healthcare, it's about 2.3 or $3 trillion. If all Americans go to seek healthcare, that's how much it costs. The point is we cannot provide free medical services for people, because we only earn $3.5 trillion in 2020, and we had to just pay out for medical services for people $3 trillion. Does it make any sense?
A little bit, but then I started.
Ask me if you don't understand.
But here's what I would ask you. For instance, I at my age, I'm on Medicare. I have Part D in Medicare, which I still can't quite figure out. But I was very lucky because I was in the Marine Corps for 4 years. So I also have VA benefits. And you wonder why, for most of the people in this, with the VA benefits, as far as I'm concerned, are fantastic. I was just in the hospital this week. I had a CAT scan done. I had blood tests done.
Do you know why that hospital is better, like for like you and me? Do you know why?
No.
Okay, here's the thing. If I come like to that hospital and say like I'm from the street, can I have an appointment? They tell you go pound yourself, go pound cents. And if you like a legal immigrant or somebody from the street, you cannot be admitted in this hospital. That's the reason. But the other hospitals, they must admit anybody who walks in. Do you understand now why people like veterans like, oh, we're proud of this is free? Go ahead.
But is it possible, I don't know if it's in the book or not, to come up with a compromise so that the healthcare system can be modeled after the points of the VA that would work for everybody in the country?
So basically kick out nobody except anybody who walks in for free. Nobody. In my book, this is different chapter. I resolved this the problem with healthcare, but the problem is that people thinking that I just answered the question. The hospitals, veteran hospitals, they don't accept people for free.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point. So you have to pay something for services. Otherwise, people who pay for services, they pay double, triple for people who don't pay. That's your socialism. And we are not set up for socialism because the country doesn't have money. We earning our money. We pay little bit chip in by our taxation. We chip in, but the government doesn't have enough money for free programs, and that's why the Democrats driving our country from the cliff, because we are not set up. Our country is not set up to be a socialist country. So the Democrats are killing our country. Go ahead.
Okay, so what we need to do is, in our opinion, is we need to find good, incredibly intelligent young people. Obviously, they're going to have extraordinary personalities because most of the people in this country are more attracted to extraordinary personalities than necessarily extraordinary knowledge. But if we can find very knowledgeable people who actually have the personalities that can sell an idea that will work for the country, I would say the ideas that are very similar to what's in the Sasha's book. Because if we did everything according to that book, this country would be a hell of a place to live. Anyway, we hope you've enjoyed this one, and that please, again, if you can, read the book. You can find it on Amazon, and if you click on Amazon, you can actually read it on Amazon for nothing, or you can actually buy the book for $2.99 on Amazon. Trust me, you will be amazed by what's in the book, and you should be able to finish the book in a few hours. So
thank you so much. I appreciate it.
We'll
Subscribe and like and comment.
Okay.